Hello to viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about a very controversial topic. Elon Musk, is he a savior or a destroyer? So let's dive deep into it. So let's take a closer look at this man. Birth date is 28 June 1971. So basically 52 years old as of now, 2023. Now he was born here in South Africa and he jumped from South Africa to Canada because his mom is from that lineage at 18 years old. That was 1989. Then he just like jumped again to USA when he was 21 years old, 1992. So what about his family? Well, here's the deal. They were not poor. They were well off. Now, you may think South Africa, poor, poverty and all that. Not really. Not for his family. It's genuinely like well off. Not the richest, not like how rich he is right now, but like not poor. Let that be very clear. They were like well off. They can actually afford to do things. And yes, he does come from a divorced family. And yes, he did say that he made a wrong decision because he chose his father to stay with. And nowadays he's like, yeah, that was a bad mistake. I should have stayed more with my mom. But that happened, but family was well off. Like he was not like starving for something like that. So family was well off, not in family structure but family in terms of finance, good. Now as of now when I'm making this video, he's the richest person alive. So what kind of net worth we are talking about? We are talking about $253 billion. Now be mindful, if you are not familiar with the fact that this number, what does it represent? It does not mean he has that kind of money in his bank account. You would be lucky to find even 1 billion in a bank account. Nobody is stupid enough to actually do that. So everybody will like spend that money, right? Like you will spend that money on yachts, private jet, assets, company investments or some other things. You will always invest that. You never want raw cash that much. Unless you are running a company itself, but he's an employee, not a company itself. So, and majority of his worth is coming from the fact that he has majority stake in Tesla. So he bought Tesla, basically not Tesla, he built Tesla. So when Tesla was very early on, he has like a very large proportion of stocks he had. That time value was like $1. Now the value is like hundreds of dollars. So money goes up. It's the same thing how Jeff Bezos, because he has Amazon stocks, his personal value is ludicrously high. He's literally funding a space program just on that. That's how high it went. So that's his money side. What about his personal life side? Well, he had 2 wives. He married 3 times. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Yes, he married one of them, first marriage, and it divorced, obviously. Second marriage, divorced. Odd thing, he married again to the same woman and then divorced again. Yes, so 2 women, 3 marriages. After that, partnership, Amber Heard, and then this is the recent one. And I'm reasonably sure he may be on the 5th one at this point in time because he has 11 kids so far. And I genuinely think he does not like the number 11. So I'm pretty sure he will try for 12 kids. So let's see. He's getting a bit old. So 52 years old. So let's see. So what about his wins? Because he is successful. He is like, no matter how much I dislike him, I do have to acknowledge that he got some things very right. Like it's almost like he knew like Bitcoin will happen and he just invested very early on when Bitcoin was like, less than a cent. And then he just waited. He waited and then wabaya, filthy rich. So he did figure something out. So biggest success story of his life is SpaceX. Why it is so important, so significant? Well, it gave USA wings. We have to understand this context. USA went from I went to the moon to I have no wings left, meaning they literally had to beg Russia. It's like, Russia, come on, can you send astronauts on ISS? And yes, Russia was like, very good, man. Brother, we help you, brother. And then there's like, next mission, hey, brother, 1 million more, brother. And then next mission, oh, brother, 2 million more, brother. So it like started to lull them. So it was very a shameful point of things where it was like USA went from Saturn V to nothing because space shuttle was such a failure. But SpaceX came to the rescue. Now, how the heck that happened? Like, how the heck a company that is not made by someone like, the greatest genius ever walked, it's like just stuff. How the heck that happened? Basically, he had 2 light bulb moment. Now, biggest light bulb was, which nobody had realized at that time, is that there was no development done after 1970. Basically, once the Apollo missions were subsided, there were a lot of engines. Early 50s, people got into this. Like just after World War II, people were like, rockets are here. They are the big boom boom stick. We gotta go all in. So majority of the engine designs, that's when they created. That's when they were created. Foundations were laid down. More research, more development, bam, 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 lot of money, no tomorrow. Then Cold War happened. Then moon mission happened, and once people figured out like Soviet Union does not actually have that kind of economical oomph to actually do something, SpaceX was like, basically America was like, tone down the throttle on budget, R&D budget. So everything kind of went into chill phase. 1970, only one engine that people say that is like genuinely new, but even that context is a bit older. That's space shuttle engine that happened after 1970, but majority of that ended at 97. Heck, even India's modern engines, semi-cryogenic engine, literally has lineage that goes before 1970. Everybody, whole worldwide, NASA, ESA, JAXA, ISRO, whatever have you, all of them literally have lineage at this point. So he started a company in 2000, and he was like, what if there is some actual development in the last 30 years and we use that for our rocket engine? And wabay, like he literally leapfrogged everybody because everybody was stuck in 70s, even though they were updating the avionics, the engine's core logic, core principle, core everything was stuck in the 70s. He just went to 2000, and this alone gave him the edge that no other country, basically country's national space agency could match at that point in time. After that, he employed one of the wisdom that he learned from software industry, is that softwares are garbage. So you make something, it's garbage, you throw it again, you build it again. Again, it will be garbage, you build it again. It's called iterative development. So every space agency, basically the moment they reach full success, basically first success, zero iteration. Meaning, this is the rocket, it works, they're not gonna change it. The end. Like, this is the rocket, unless the government demands something else or some new mission comes up that requires some modification, it will not be changed. It won't be like, it's perfectly working, we're gonna change it. But Elon Musk did something completely different. He was like, let's keep iterating it until it becomes perfect. So he made Falcon 9. It achieved what it's supposed to achieve. It got all the milestones completed from NASA's point of view, commercial resupply mission. But he was like, okay, this is good, let's call it garbage, let's redo it. So they redo it, and they're like, we can improve the geometry, it will allow easier transport, it will allow this to be better, this to be better, multiple things. Then they're like, we are recovering the rockets, but it is taking too much time to actually collapse the legs and all, do all that. Just they're like, let's make a version, new version, block 3, block 4, block 5. That was the final. So that's how they kept iterating. So even in few short years, they actually accumulated enough in R&D research, enough chops, that if they say they can build Starship, they can actually build it. So this was the two genius moment. First, nobody started after 1970, and he started in 2000, and iteration after iteration after iteration. Now be mindful, this was amazing for his time, not anymore, because nowadays you can look at Rocket Labs, how quickly they went from a company to orbit. That's bonkersly fast. And they are building the second generation of their rocket, that is neutron rocket. Same with other companies. Other companies are like, hey, what if we build a whole rocket that is 3D printed? You see that now people have realized that light bulb moment is like, we do not need to stay in 1970, let government agency burn money at that point, but we can start with 2000. And now other people have the luxury of like 2010 technology. So now there are startups that are directly jumping into methane because they already learned it. So that happened. And iteration, every company is doing that. Like, if you are a company and you're not doing this, you're stupid. So flat out, these were the two light bulbs that made SpaceX the glowing powerhouse that it is now. Then we come to Tesla. Now Tesla successfully gave the world EV fever. So how the heck Tesla had such a big impact? Well, here they also had two light bulb moment. Light bulb moment number one, this is garbage, this is Rivian. And at that point in time, people have been trying, and people have made EVs. Heck, even before this, like 30 years ago, as in like 1970, there were people who were making lead acid EV batteries. And heck, go 100 years ago, still the same thing. There were actual electric vehicles, same time as Model T. Yes, Henry Ford's Model T 100 years ago. We always had battery cars. But he realized something very clever, is that this is designed to a cost, whereas like they try to make it as cheap as possible. Technology fundamentally cannot be cheap. So his wisdom was like, hey, what if we directly go for the big, go broke or go home? So they directly went into expensive market, because his wisdom was very correct, is that it has to be expensive to be viable. Can they actually make a proper electric car that is actually good? Absolutely, child's play. But it cannot be sold at a cheap price. They had to target basically. So same way, Ferrari is built differently, Lamborghini is built differently, Lotus is built differently. They took a Lotus chassis and made it into a battery system. And again, that gave them the economical margin where they're like, okay, now we have enough money to actually do something good. It was not like other companies did not know lithium-ion battery did not exist. Like, it existed. Like, he just bought a laptop, a 181650 battery from Panasonic. So other companies, why didn't they do it? Cost. Could it have been done? Absolutely. Can they have done it? Absolutely. But if they were aiming for low cost, He directly aimed for high cost. Now there is another benefit of that. People who can afford this sort of luxury cars, they are a bit more forgiving. It's counterintuitive, but they are surprisingly forgiving. So if they give you a deposit and you're like, hey, are we going to deliver you 2 years from now? They might forget. Not everyone, but they might forget. So enough of people kept enough money, enough capital that this started to roll out. And because it was electric, because it was running on lithium power rails, it actually managed to have enough performance to justify it. And it almost became a collector's item reason. Bam. So price went up. That allowed them enough cash flow to actually grow. So this was the wisdom part of it. Do not try to make a cost down variant. Try to make something that is like, no, I'm expensive, but there is a reason for me to be expensive. That was second light bulb moment. Now, this would have made them bankrupt over time. Same way Lamborghini went bankrupt, same way Rolls-Royce had been. I do not even know who owns Rolls-Royce at this point. The car variant. I think BMW owns it. So you get the point. Like, that's not long-term sustainable. You want to be Toyota if you want to be long-term sustainable. So they made different, S lineup and all that. Now, what was the another wisdom that he had? Second light bulb. Second light bulb was working charging network matters more than anything else. Not the car itself. The car itself was not whoa. It was good, but it was not like whoa. It was like, but it's like, how the heck are you gonna charge it? And he poured money into this puppy like there is no tomorrow, and it paid off. The fact that charger was the thing that he actually sat down and designed is like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's how the heck we're gonna do it? How the heck how the heck we can make it as easy as possible? And even in the designing itself, that was very clear. It's like things break, so how about we reduce things? And like, okay, how the heck you're gonna create such a high DC bus? It's like, hey, for our cars, we have what we call onboard charger. What if we just bulk order, like we are ordering, let's say, 1,000,000 pieces. What if we order 2,000,000 pieces and stack multiple of them into this station? Not on these blocks. These blocks are just connectors. They have a station block generally next to a transformer. That's where they have. So they are sharing it. And benefit is if one goes down, the charger network, basically this thing still works. So they put a lot of thought, effort into charging network. Both of these two things. So first, he got the early start and actually created an expectation for performance with expectation of price. That's good. Then he created a charger network which no other company, neither Tata, Toyota, Mahindra, whatever have you, none of them figured out that charging network is the weak link. And he just milked money. And this is where his actual worth comes from. So there are some significant wins. Let that be very clear as it could be, that he did got 4 light bulbs and very amazing results. So what about some fails? He must have success, so he must have failures. Well, yeah, this is where things go off the rails. Now, it's almost reaching a point where people say, like, you could be a player that the first 10 match you played, you were like acing it, you were GG, and 10 match, basically 90 matches after that you are losing. People will not remember the 10 first. He's reaching that point. So failure was Hyperloop debacle. Now at this point in time, thankfully, enough of humanity has woken up to this BS. It's like, no. Now, unfortunately, we woke up with too late. I was 5 years early, as in like my channel's first English video was in that Hyperloop 5 years ago. And yes, Thunderfoot goes even further than that. Another EV vlog goes even further than that. So basically more than enough people, including engineers who work in transportation, they were like, dude, this will never work. Do not burn money into that. People burned billions of dollars into that. And as of now, when I'm making this, barring one company that is doing pump and dump, which I can see it's a pump and dump, every other company is like, yep, we are closing doors. This is not going to work. So that was a very big thing. And this started in 2012. We have crossed 10-year threshold. So that was like, no. That was like, at this point in time, majority of humanity has woken up, barring 1 or 2 people, but most of them are like, no, this was a debacle. This was just no. This was just like Elon Musk hype, brain damaging people into thinking that's like, it could work. There was no reason, no engineer should have allowed this to happen. But unfortunately, Elon hype, because of the success of SpaceX, pushed enough brain damage to people where it's like, we're going to make this. It's like people forgot the bigger the chamber becomes, the more fragile it becomes, specifically if you have a giant ass vacuum in it. Then it's like, no, it's low pressure. It's like, dude, you are measuring it in millitors. It's vacuum. So Hyperloop bumped about a lot of system. Then we have the another brain damage. This shocked me. Hyperloop, again, when I was young, dumb, I fall for that. But this, even I did not fall for it. So it was the Boring Company. Now, Boring Company is like, we're going to have a road and we're going to have this brain damage where it's going to have hole in the road. Your car goes, wham, and we're going to go. I'm like, you're describing a metro. Much more dangerous, much more inefficient. You're describing a metro. So this was genuinely shocking. So he actually convinced enough people, including Las Vegas, to build it. Now, here's the deal. This is where I realized like he genuinely is one of those guys who like early ideas, awesome. Then he's spiraled down. It's like he built the system, awesome. He's gonna drive Teslas into that. Here's the deal. Teslas have self-driving. And if you are in a tunnel, you do not have weather issues. You do not have temperature issues. You do not have visibility issues. Why the heck your self-driving is not driving it? So they did not figure it out. Then they put like wheels on the steering wheel and it was vibrating like this. And you can see that in the early opening ceremonies where Elon Musk is with a reporter and reporter is like, what the hell is happening? Yeah, because they could not figure out how to make a flat concrete because the expansion contraction was not accounted for. So it was going like this. And then they were like, okay, this is stupid. So they flattened this whole place, put literal road there as like actual road and all that, and then they're driving with a driver. I'm like, dude, you have self-driving car. Why can't you just put strips of let's say retro-reflective tape that helps your AI? Because again, you do not have LiDAR, you do not have anything else. How about actual feedback that will help your car to drive safely? No. What if we have people and drive at 10 kilometers per hour? The money Las Vegas burnt on this, like even the Boring Company quietly removed it from them, but Las Vegas burnt so much money that people say, hey, this is awesome. And he's like, I cannot believe the amount of lies that people are telling for this. It's like, this is the cheapest. I'm like, look at the price, look at the time it took. Look at the time, look at the price. You know how much money per month was spent on it. And it is beyond mind-boggling. It's like people just forget. He makes a promise and people forget that you're supposed to count from that point. Like if you say something can be done in 2 years from now, you wait for 2 years. You do not like, oh, 2 years ago he made a promise. On the third year, he made another promise. And I'm like, dude, what happened to the... No, we forgot about that. It's like, what the heck? So this backfired, and slowly, more brick by brick, again, you can say we can build tunnel faster than anyone else. It's like, yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't. You literally didn't. We can see when you started the tunnel. We can see when the tunnel was open. The gap is same as everyone else. Turns out it's not the machine's fault. Again, which machine? They are like rocket technology. Who the heck is doing journalism now? It's a machine they bought from other brand and they rebranded it, which OEM manufacturers do. That was like, this was genuinely shocking. This, I can get that. Like, you have to have some intelligence to understand this. Common sense should be able to. Heck, even here, they could have just put rails there. But that happened. Then we come to the recent hassle that they are creating is self-driving in Tesla. Now, you may be like, why the heck Tesla does not have self-driving yet? Whereas like, we have self-driving, done, go home. And I mean true self-driving, as in legal self-driving, where you do not have to have steering. So why the heck they are not there? Well, because Elon Musk itself was like, I will not put LiDARs. Why? Well, here's the another part. Tesla is a red company that is in red, like as in the amount of money they took out for the loan, the amount of money they have weighing for what we call interest, all of that money, and given the fact that they ran in red for so many years, that the X amount, that amount that they have to pay back in order to bring to absolute profitability, yeah, that's a very large money, like very large money. That means they are not printing as much money as you think. You may be like, oh, millions of dollars. They're like, dude, millions of dollars is just our interest. So all of that things considered, the money printing machine is not working as well as it was. So they're like, okay, let's cut sensors on that, LiDAR. Now, he cut LiDAR for economical reason and he never ever accepted. It's like, I removed LiDAR. LiDAR is the best solution. Why? Radar works on radio waves, which are very basically long wavelength. The wavelength of radars are very long, meaning you can only see things that are larger than the wavelength. So if your wavelength is this big, you're going to see things that are like, much bigger than that. Now, light, nanometers. Benefit, you can see nanometers. Like, of course, you can't go till nanometer, but you can see micrometers size. So that means anything in the road, basically poles, columns, all that can easily be detected by LiDARs. But radar cannot do that. What about ultrasound? Ultrasound can work, but it is very sloppy instrument. Basically, it does tell you, and that's why we have for reverse parking, we use ultrasound, but it's a sloppy instrument. It's not very precise. Like, it's not 4K, it's basically 360p. So every company that has brain with self-driving, they're like, hey, we have to put LiDARs. Now, why the heck people don't like LiDAR? It's expensive and it has moving parts, so it does not last very long. So again, is there a solution? Yes, solution is to make a what we call solid state LiDAR, meaning the camera part we have sorted, that's sorted, solid state, no problem. Is the laser part that we require spinning mirrors. Somebody came up with the idea, what if we have phase array on laser? So we have phase array in 5G mobile phones and towers. So basically there will be plate, thousands of small antenna, exactly like Starlink, and the wave guide could be like, you can aim it. So if somebody can do that with laser, basically you have a flat plate and laser is going like this, problem solved. Can that be done? Yes, there is company that is selling that right now, but generally it's for much lower power rating, as in they are used in warehouse robotics. But very successful, and companies are working on making car size one. So why the heck they have not made it? It's stuck in a chicken and egg soup, basically, where they are like, hey, uh, this will be awesome, but we need a bulk money to research and develop this puppy to actually do that. So basically you have to pay a lot of money, then develop it, then use it. And it's like nobody wants to risk that. Now, Elon Musk was the only individual who could have done that. If he, same way he sold like a giant section of basically Tesla stock in order to buy $44 billion Twitter, he could have easily bought any small company that is working on basically LiDAR technology, and they could have like, here's the money, give me a car LiDAR that is solid state, done. It would have been sorted. Physics is sorted, engineering is sorted. It's just the tooling part is stuck. But it didn't do that. And his autopilot is so bad that government is like literally looking into it, and German government has banned it. Like, no, you cannot call your car self-driving. It's not self-driving, it's self-poofing yourself. Why? Because here's the deal. They say, like, somehow this is enough brain damage, enough Elon Musk fanboyism that people are like, oh, we can just put our hand on the steering. Here's the deal. You will zone out. If you zone out and you look into it, like this person happened, that, like, how the heck you will take over? Because again, if you are a driver, you know for a fact that even though when you are completely driving, you zone out sometimes, and you do not know what's happening until you hopefully, like, things happen and you're like, whoa, 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 I was zoning out. Imagine happening that in self-driving car. And again, why you're calling it self-driving? If you have to have your hand in the steering, you have to call it assisted. So German court was like, no, this is BS. No, just no. Either if you say it's an autopilot, you have to give them the luxury that they cannot touch the steering. Like, the steering was not touched. So that was done. Even US government is doing it, but there is enough fanboyism in USA that they're like not pushing it through. But all other European countries are like, no, bro, it's not self-driving. It's no. You cannot have self-driving. Oh, you have to take over. It's like, that's not self-driving. So that's there. And then Elon Musk acquisition of Twitter somehow triggered enough basically brain cells to activate, where people actually started to see all of this. Like for this LiDAR thing, I will talk a very interesting story in next slide. So this happened, like Twitter actually shook people, where they're like, dude, are you actually very smart, or are you just a very lucky individual? Like, you must have known some people who just bet a lot of money in early Bitcoins, like very little amount of money, like $100 or something, and they are literally millionaires now, because again, they just lucked out. But after that, they have not done anything of that magnitude. Is the same thing with Elon Musk. Like, after Twitter, I'm seeing more and more people are like, like SpaceX, awesome. Tesla, early days, awesome. But after that, it's like, you're making a lot of promises and you're not delivering, and you are causing harm to the people. So what the hell? So what's the pattern here? Now, pattern is very clear, very simple. Make magical promises that you cannot match. For example, I am not joking. In 2016, he comes to the stage, okay? And he's like, we have these trucks. Awesome. Now, these trucks are more efficient than rail. Every engineer that ever worked, ever did calculation, figured out a rubber tire moving on concrete or moving on road surfaces versus metal wheel working on metal rails. There is no competition. Laws of physics does not allow you to say that. But he said it. Magic promise. Things that cannot be done, cannot be delivered. He just whooped. Walla magic. So magical promise. Stock goes up. Then people forget about it. This is the side effect of our generation, is like we have very short attention span. We forget, like, dude, you were saying this thing for 10 years. We do not even remember that. We just remember like, oh, you talked about it 2 months ago. It's like, no, you talked about it 10 years ago. So people forget about it. And then benefit of that is, like, stock already went up. People forgot about it because nobody's checking up. It's like, bro, where is it? Is that now he makes new promise. Now he will like, our trucks have better self-driving than ever again. It's like, do you have LiDAR? No, then you don't have self-driving. Like, flat out, no. But he makes an even more bold claim. So magic promises, stock goes up, people forget about it, new magic promise, now he stays in the news, then rinse and repeat. So same thing again and again. So that's how Tesla gets a magic evaluation of $1 trillion. It's flat out impossible. Like, Apple has $1 trillion valuation, Nvidia has a value. Like, they're actually selling something. Imagine Tesla, and it is higher than Toyota, it is higher than Volkswagen, it's higher than BYD, which, mind you, sells more electric vehicle than Tesla, and Daimler, GM, BMW, Ford, Stanley, Honda. How is that even a mathematically viable, that a whole world's car fleet versus a tiny percentage? Like, if Apple had that sort of tiny percentage, that means every iPhone had to be like $50,000. But somehow it has that, because of that fake promise, never deliver it, people will forget about it, then make even more promises. Every time he makes promise, you can check it out. Every announcement event, prices goes up, stock goes up, every single event. So if you know when the next event would be, buy stocks then. And the moment he makes the announcement, stocks will go up and then you sell it. So it has done that enough time where it's like, dude, what the hell? Like, it's a pattern now. Like, he will make a claim that cannot be done, cannot be delivered on, like Hyperloop. By the way, that tube that he built, now he has been opened, and there is a railway track there. It's amazing. Please go look that into Google Maps. You'll find it. It's amazing. And then over-promising and under-delivering. For example, his car. It's like, this car has all the electronics needed, excluding the most important thing, LiDAR, and which is gonna give you self-driving with a software update, which legally he cannot. So overpromise, underdeliver. A car that is dangerous and has actually cost lives. People have unfortunately perished because of their trusting into self-driving. And then Elon Musk did the Elon Musk thing. It's like, hey, I told you to keep your hand on the steering. It's like, that's why German government is like, no, you cannot say this is an assistant technology. So that was a very, very big issue. Like, for example, Waymo. Waymo is a company that, again, they do not have their own cars, so they have to put a sensor kit. So they have 5th generation. Right now they are on 5th generation. And I would love you to watch a video that I have linked down below from a Tesla owner. Now, she has the same mindset that everybody had, that Elon Musk SpaceX brain damage, where once she actually sit into this and she's like, I do not trust my own Tesla to remove the hand, because by law I have to. If I do not, I am the liable one. So even if Tesla autopilot spoofs me, I am the responsible party. Here, it's available. It's open on the road by law. Of course, restricted area in Los Angeles, I think they were testing it. And you can see that, like, she's reading that. It's like, this is actually reliable. It's actually working. How? What is this magic? It's called LiDAR, putting a lot of LiDARs there. So they just put LiDARs because cameras are sloppy instrument. We drive on cameras. We are sloppy drivers. You want to give your AI magic. Basically, you want to give them a data that is clear. If you do not give them basically clear data, garbage in, garbage out, even with AI. So cameras are garbage. You have to give them LiDAR. You have to give them sonar. You have to give them radar. You have to give them so many instruments that now they can create a 3D space that is like absolutely real, absolutely absolute. Only then they're like, no, we are making a decision. This is a cyclist. I'm going to be this far away. Oh, this is a truck. Like, you must have seen that one issue where Tesla actually had a truck that was fallen over and wabam. How the heck that happened? Optical systems confuses itself fundamentally. And LiDAR, that's why LiDAR gives you binary data. It's like something is how far it is. And because it gives you a 3-dimensional point cloud, you can actually calculate, can I actually pass through it? No? How about I apply brake? Done. So they actually have legal self-driving, meaning you do not have to touch the steering wheel. Heck, nobody even sits in the driver's seat. Legal self-driving is already working. And by the time some company figures out how to make solid-state lasers that are powerful enough for this puppy, this company will just work with whatever car manufacturer, just make everything neat and tidy, done. Next day, nobody will even talk about Tesla. And that's just one manufacturer. By the way, there is some Chinese manufacturer that have that, and other companies, Blue Origin, Amazon also has one company that is working on that, and they are making the new car that does not even have steering wheel. So he just over-promises, under-delivers, and people just eats it up. And she says that was the most waking up moment. It's like he lands a rocket on a barge, so we will trust him to do everything. And now after sitting in this, like, that's the same thing. It's like, you lucked out with Bitcoin. You had really good ideas. You're really amazing in terms of SpaceX. But after that, every idea that is coming out is getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And instead of wasting $44 billion on a Twitter, you could have taken that $44 billion, easily given a company, and like made your LiDAR problem go away permanently. Then you would have been ahead, because right now this company has the software stack. Like, the moment LiDAR becomes cheap, Control-C, Control-V, done. That's for mass production. Right now they are already reaching a price parity. They are just a bit higher up. So it's very, very underwhelming, so to say, again and again, because this is not the first time, nor it will be the last time. It's more than enough time where it's like, how many times are you going to do this? And he creates a new company. Every time it's just like, I'm going to make this new. That's why people do not remember what he actually promised and he had not delivered. He makes new companies. So, brain drilling company. We're going to drill on the brain. And here's the deal. He will make a new company. He will catch up to the veterans. Veterans of basically, let's say there is a robotics company that is a veteran, and they'll like just look up into it as like, looks something similar to a veteran class, and people will like, whoa, Elon must catch up so quickly, he's gonna surpass them. And people actually believe that because they do not understand that once you have solved something, it's super easy to do again. It's like, engineering rule, do it first or do it better. So people who did it first, they actually suffered for it. People who are doing after it, they will do better than that. So they do that. quickly. That's the key part. Very quick. Move so fast that there is no law, there is no regulation, there is no ethics. You move fast, and then you overpromise, and then you get stuck. Neural link, brain drilling and all that. For day one, I was like, whoa, they're working so fast, they're making fine threads. And it's like every other company that actually makes that, they're like, dude, we had this from 2015. Like, we got this, we sorted this out. 2000, like brick by brick, day by day, day by day. And then once they actually reach a point where they like actually have to deliver something useful, then you're like, wait a minute, didn't you promise in 2022 we're gonna have this? Didn't you promise in 2023 we're gonna have this as a common device? 2023 is almost over. So they will always get stuck. Same way with this. This is 8 months ago when basically Boston Dynamics released their robotics. Same time, I think 1 or 2 months plus and minus, same time, SpaceX announces their Tesla bot. Look at that Tesla bot and look at this. Like, both are released at the same time. It's not even comparison. Like, one is literally like a Honda Asimo robot, which was released at Millennium. Basically, year 2000, Japanese company Honda released a robotics that was basically designed for elderly people care. And again, super expensive, super just R&D, but the motion speed of Asimo was more or less the same speed what this puppy has now. So because of the hype, people do not compare it. People do not look at, wait a minute, you're talking about like your robotics that is super expensive, has a hole there because you have to put hooks there because it cannot move. And then that slow yoga pose, people are like, dude, is your leg welded? Because leg is not moving a bit. Here, because it's a fully robotic, leg is always moving. Like, even when I'm standing, my legs are like, so how is the leg welded or glued on? And why so slow? It's like, Asimo in 2000 used to do that. Boston Dynamics is fast. It's a freaking doing backflip, man. It's a freaking backflip. How the heck that hydraulics does not go poof? And again, yes, it does go poof from time to time. There are videos from Boston Dynamics. They themselves are showing like sometimes it crashes and it's like pss, hydraulic just goes. So is there. So every time they will announce a new company, be it self-driving company, be it truck company, they'll just announce it. They will come up to a point where it looks like they are actually making progress, and because it's older and again, not everybody is studying all of these fields, they'll look like, whoa. And when people say who are in the field, it's like, dude, you're trolling. Elon fan shield activates, and then same thing. So the hope is that nobody's going to remember that BYD actually crossed Tesla in terms of EV sales long ago. And stagnation, basically the time where it's like, your competitor who like actually has things, your competitor actually has deliverable things. How do I know they have delivered? The doggy that they are selling, SpaceX has that doggy in Starbase doing inspection, and Chinese companies are making clone of it. That's how you know it's actually working, if Chinese companies are making clone of it. So they're hoping, and the idea is the Elon fan shield will create a stagnation shield. Basically, you are stagnating, people will just overlook that, and you just sell more hype. Basically, if this company says that we're gonna revolutionize something, you will believe that, because no robotics so far has even able to walk at the speed and let alone backflip. If they say that, you will believe it. Elon Musk says that the fan shield damage activates, and then how you believe it. It's like, that's why I really love that woman's take on it. It's like, just because he landed rockets on Earth, maybe he's not right about that. Like, that's a normal logical thing, right? Just because you're Einstein does not mean you're right about everything. Just because you are Edison, it does not mean you're right about everything. Just because you're Tesla, it does not mean you're right about everything. That's a human thing, right? Like, you can be right about 10 things, you could be wrong about 90 things. It will always be the same ratio. So this pattern has happened more than enough time, where it's like, if you actually pay attention, promises, when it was made, by the way, in year 2010, Elon Musk was saying that he's going to swap batteries. That was year 2010. This is 2023. So is there a risk for this sort of behavior? Well, time and money both are limited assets. No matter who you are, no matter what you are, the moment you poof those puppies up, it's gone forever. So companies that burnt millions of dollars, governments that literally contracted people to like actually build stuff, including India. Yes, I'm unfortunate enough for that, but it happened. That money, that asset, gone. The money and time, gone. So now I have to ask you a very important question, and you have to tell me the answer. What's the line between delay and scam? Because, for example, there was a lady that trolled the whole world about a blood test from one drop. And consequence of that, there was no machine that could do that today. But what about 10 years from now? What about 50 years from now? Or what about a private company that trolls people where it's like, we're going to have fusion reactor in 2050. It's like, how many years will you wait? Like, government can keep trolling. That's the whole point of government. They do the long-term things. But private companies, where is your line? Like the guy who's selling hydrogen truck, it's like, we're gonna have hydrogen truck. It's like he could say the same thing what Elon Musk says. It's like it's taking a bit longer, or it does not even ever acknowledges it, that all his timelines only in SpaceX. Only in SpaceX I have seen him directly talk about it's taking a bit longer, but everything else he just ignores it. It's like, oh. But SpaceX he actually said like it's taking a bit longer. So where's the line? Because for example, if you come to me and it's like, hey, I want to take your money and I will give you a car in 2 years from now. I'm like, okay. Now, if that goes to 3 years, that is my upper limit, because that's 50% increase. That's my upper limit. So basically 100%, 150%, 100%, 50, I'm like, no. Some people are a bit more tolerating, a bit more forgiving. How about 200%? So like 2 years became 4 years. But should it become 10 years? Because there must be a line where delay becomes a scam. There must be a line, because if you are that behind schedule, you should not say, you should not just pump a lie, flat out lie, so your stock value goes up. That's a lie. That's like a dangerous thing. So where is that line for you? Like, what is the time variance for you? So that's the also. And what should be the penalty for missing milestones? For example, right now everybody is angry at NASA. They're not cancelling SLS. They're not trolling or destroying Boeing, because Boeing destroyed the money that was given to them, and ship is not ready. NASA is supposed to have 2 crew-rated capsules, not 1, 2 crew-rated capsules. They only have a Dragon. So people are angry, and they should be angry. But should you be angry at this guy if he's like, this is supposed to be delivered in 6 months from now, we are taking pre-orders, we are taking money, and lol. And there is a very good chance, I hope for the people who invested into this, that it does not happen, but there is a good chance this will not be ever be mass produced. Only few pieces could be made, because it's so expensive. Like manufacturing cost is so goddamn high. It's like a meme that he tries to make into a car, and geometry and physics is like, lol bro, we do not care. So likelihood of that disappearing is very high. So that's the question, like what should be the penalty for missing milestones? Because again, we are angry at NASA that they are not doing the same thing with basically Boeing, and it should be. And every country is learning that there should be milestones, and if that is met, you cancel it. So you do not have a sunken cost fallacy. So what should be the point? Now, it's a personal question, because everybody will have a different tolerance. I'm really like, oh, he's doing magical things. Like if he says, I'm building a rocket that is going to orbit, I'm like, awesome. I'm building a rocket that's going to replace basically, jet. I'm like, it's like entire humanity forgot how loud a rocket's supposed to be. So, and it's like the easiest way to explain that is like, you can use a flamethrower to light a cigarette, but would you? So that's the whole thing. It's a personal question. Everybody has that. And be mindful, broken promises piles up. Not 1 or 2. Like there are more and more people, especially after Twitter. I do not know what happened. Like something snapped. I think something happened where more, even the Tesla fans, they were like, dude, I thought Tesla was great, but it's like, no. Like more and more the anti-repair behaviors, actually people started to protest about it. It's like, dude, what the hell? So brick by brick, more and more promises. I think that Twitter thing was somehow it triggered something, and more and more people are noticing that broken promises have penalty. And one of the main thing, the reason why I'm so angry about it, it sidelines good projects for hype. For example, that blood thing, it caused so much damage in the field that companies that were actually working on real working prototypes of blood tests, again, limited blood tests. They were not like 600 blood tests. They're like, dude, these things can be done, which every doctor, every engineer will agree, it can be done. They're just like, we have to miniaturize it. It's a bit difficult. It's like they were working on it. They were contracted by NASA. Even their evaluation went down because the whole field was tainted. Now, same thing will happen if, let's say, Elon Musk does electric truck. He promises it in 2016, never delivers it. More and more people will just spill out. And because he keeps making new promises, new BS, more and more money goes into that rather than into these 2 examples. For example, Edison, I've already covered that. It's one of the most amazing truck design I have seen. It is a hybrid truck, which is serial hybrid, basically how your diesel locomotives are. So it's amazing. Basically, if you have a battery charging infrastructure, enjoy it. If you do not worry about it. And if you compare it to directly, let's say you brought it into India and you do not want to have EV charging infrastructure, no problem. It will still be better than direct combustion system. Because again, generators do not like to be changing in RPM and torque. You want an engine to give you awesome efficiency, you have to give them a fixed RPM and fixed torque load. The moment you can do that, it's efficient. It's like, we good. You give them RPM going like wing, 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 efficiency goes lol. So doing that, because it's a serial hybrid, they're good. The battery is the reservoir and the motors are the actual driving torque. And they have regen also. So grand total, it's actually more efficient than just direct diesel truck and less polluting and less soot emissions. directly. Then we have this Janus Electronics, where they figured out like this truck is so destructive that roads have to give extra permission, and be mindful, roads are generally destroyed by heavy vehicles. This vehicle is ultra heavy. They actually in a law give specification that you have 2 tons of extra capacity, so you can carry extra batteries. Both of them do not exceed this. Both of them are actually here, real. You can go them and drive them and test them. And this puppy is actually in work. They are like they are a bit newer, so they will need extra 2 or 3 more years before they become ready to sell. This is ready to sell right now. So they retrofit trucks and all that, and they're good. Batteries are swapped. Nothing new, nothing magical. They're just ready. Take it and go today. But everybody's like Tesla, Tesla. So there is a serious penalty. There is a serious penalty if every time, like let's say you lose a lot of money in solar roadways, at some point you will stop trusting solar. And I do understand the pain, but that's the penalty. So there is a very serious risk of this sort of individual just getting out of hand. And again, I do acknowledge that he has done something amazing, but at some point it's just like, where's the line between delay and scam? I want to know from you. Leave the comment down below and please watch the videos that I've linked. There is 2 of them. Second one, please do watch it. So this was my presentation on basically Elon Musk, a savior or a destroyer. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show my extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.